With Europe's decision last month to label Israeli goods produced over the Green Line, they've taken the first step to joining the worldwide BDS movement, whose goal is to destroy Israel. European governments for years have funded BDS and demonizers of Israel through financial support of anti-Israel NGOs. According to NGO Monitor, the NGO Zochrot supports a one Palestinian state solution, but receives European funding. NGO Grassroots Jerusalem supports the BDS campaign, displays the European Union flag on its website, and receives more than a quarter of its funding from the European Union. Badi and Al-Haq are NGOs that support demonization of Israel, but continue to receive European funding. The protestations of the European Union that labeling is not part of the BDS movement, or their assertions of support for a two-state solution ring hollow when they financially support NGOs who want to destroy Israel. As Lena Bachmann of NGO Monitor opined, how would Brussels react if Israel funded Flemish separatists? How would London react if Israel supported Scottish and Welsh separatists? This is exactly what the European Union is doing to a sovereign democratic nation. It has chosen to support and ally with the corrupt, illiberal, anti-Semitic Palestinian Authority. That's fine. But now it is time for Israel to legislate transparency for foreign NGO funding and ending facilitation of European funds that support the BDS movement or call for the destruction of Israel. My friend and international editor, Anat Collins of the Jerusalem Post, wrote an op-ed this week about people's need to rationalize the unthinkable knife and car attacks against Israeli civilians. This is what she wrote. Palestinian terrorists have taken the lives of more than 20 people, ranging in age from 18-year-olds to a man in his 70s. People have an understandable need to rationalize the attacks. I can tell you what is not the trigger: checkpoints. Recently, I have heard an increasing number of Palestinians and their supporters claiming that it is the fear and humiliation of military checkpoints that are fueling the despair, that leads people to decide to kill Israelis using whatever they can: knives, scissors, guns, axes, or cars driven into a crowd of pedestrians. The frustration at checkpoints is real. The need for checks even more so. It is the equivalent of security checks at an airport. When 3 people were killed in a terrorist attack at the Gush Etzion Junction on November 19th, I briefly wondered whether Europeans labeled them settler, American Jew, and Palestinian. All of them, Alon Shavrut resident Yaakov Dan, Gap Year teen Ezra Schwartz, and Hebron resident Shadi Arafi, were victims, their deaths a tragedy. When a terrorist stabbed and killed Ruvain Avaram and Aharon Isayev as they prayed in a Tel Aviv synagogue that afternoon, was this really because of settlements and checkpoints rather than the global jihad? Security checks are necessary. All Israelis are used to opening their bags and passing through metal detectors before being allowed to enter a bus or a train or a shopping mall or a concert hall. There's no reason for them to be carried out without security personnel doing their utmost to preserve dignity and lives. But now it's time for a reality check.